Hello, everybody. I am really excited to share with you a little bit of information. Some of you have heard this word about herxing. What an odd word, right? So it's called a Herxheimer response. And I found a really great resource, and I'm actually going to read a little section of it to you that explains what that is and why sometimes after you do different types of therapy. So it could be a biofeedback session. It could be an acupuncture, anything where we're releasing and evoking a strong response in the body. It could be the energy enhancement system. It could be lots of different modalities, but you're asking the body to create a shift or a change, and you're doing something different. Really not unlike if you exercised really, really hard and then you're sore the next day, right? So that's a very common and mild version of that. So I'm going to read this to you because I really like how they phrase it, and then explain what do you do about that, right? How do you avoid that, and what recommendations can you do for yourself and for your loved ones, so that they don't have to hurt as they heal. It's uncomfortable. So the Jarisch Herxheimer. So Jarisch, Jarisch, and then Herxheimer is Herx, each Heimer. The Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction, often called a Herx, may occur as a result of endotoxins, so toxins from within you, exotoxins, so toxins from like radiation or something you're exposed to, and neurotoxins released from the microbial die-off during different types of therapies. If proper buildup, so if you came in, one of the things that we're looking at doing is having like a spa week, and have people come and do hyperbaric or do biofeedback and do the energy enhancement system. But what we found is that you need some nutritional support, lots of water, some detoxing baths, and some hyperbaric to help correct that, right? To help support you while your body's going through this. So if you do a gradual buildup, right? So if you have friends coming in town, you want to have them stay really well hydrated, do some mild exercise and things that they could do to get things kind of moving before they come here. Because if we just blast them, they could get uncomfortable if they're not supported correctly. So we're making sure that we do that correctly. So a proper or gradual buildup with limited therapy time exposure, if we implement that, the majority of users of people don't experience any symptoms or very mild from a die-off removal process. The bodies or the user's bodies, I'm going to start over. The user's body responds to the toxins by releasing inflammatory mediators from the immune system, such as chemokines or cytokines, right? So you might have heard of like a cytokine storm, and it's just a massive inflammatory response. Let me see. Okay. Which may cause a flaring of symptoms in the individual. That's why sometimes if you have a biofeedback or another therapy, you can flare. So they're like, I understand I might get worse before I get better, but not everybody knows that. So symptoms might be old symptoms and then get worse, or maybe totally new symptoms. Examples of common Herx symptoms are increased joint pain, muscle pain, fatigue, nausea, headaches, night sweats, fever, rashes. Especially if your body uses skin as a way to detox. If your other channels like your liver and your kidney and your bowels are not detoxing, then it will leave through your skin and you get a rash. Other symptoms may also occur. These symptoms generally last for a day or more. Okay. I've seen intense reactions where they lasted 2 to 4 weeks, really long, if they weren't supported in between very well. So the intensity of this reaction reflects the intensity of inflammation present. Inflammation is a natural immune system reaction to the presence of toxins, to the presence of toxins. Any symptoms and reactions are caused by the body itself, which is usually evidence that it's working really hard trying to detoxify. Such symptoms and reactions are not caused by devitalizing a microbe, right? So if there was a therapy that was specific for or a supplement, it could be anything that is specific for a virus or for bacteria or for Lyme, then it's not caused by the Lyme itself. Okay, so it's just important to understand that. So it's working hard to detoxify the toxins left behind. So they are created by the body in response to toxins or poisons, like it reacts to any kind of toxin or any kind of poison. One may find that they will need to completely skip a full day or more between different therapies, right? So you might do a biofeedback and then come and do the hyperbaric the next day, or do a hyperbaric first, right? And then do that. That's my latest favorite. I found that if I did hyperbaric before I went and worked out, I wasn't sore at all. It's magical. So you can just go and push yourself as hard as you want. I still can't lift 1,000 pounds. It doesn't change my capacity, but my recovery time is literally 0. So doing things ahead of time can really be helpful, like hydrating ahead of time, hyperbaric oxygen ahead of time. Those are all really great things. Let me make sure I found the right spot. Okay, so you might need to space it out or really support yourself in between those different types of therapy. So just to manage any what they call a toxic die-off symptom, okay? So the body creates these symptoms and reactions or inflammation in response to all microbial die-off, like fungus is another one, parasites. When people have a die-off, all of a sudden your body has to deal with all these dead pathogens, right? So you have all this dead protein sitting around in your body, and your body has to clean that up. So it's because of the cleanup and the inflammatory response, not because of the parasites themselves did not get worse, right? The virus didn't get worse, the Lymes didn't get worse, but the die-off, right? Your body has this phase in the immune system called macrophages where it cleans up. It's cleaning up the pathogens or cleaning up the toxins left behind. So all these die-off toxins, so they can include any type of toxin, including like pharmaceutical drugs, antibiotics, over-the-counter medications, vaccines, mercury fillings in the teeth, heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, chemicals that are just in your food, your hair care, skin care, your personal care products, cleaning products. Just the list goes on and on and on, right? We know that we're exposed to toxins in a lot of places. In other words, the body works hard to minimize the damage caused by the toxin by creating an inflammatory response and other immune responses in order to get rid of them. So when you have a Herxheimer's response, it's not, your body's doing the right thing. You didn't have a bad reaction, right? Your body is trying to clean it up, is trying to clean up the exposure. So what do you do about that? What can we do? So we talked really briefly about doing hyperbaric in between different types of modalities in order to correct. I did a type of therapy this last week called solid state, and I needed the energy enhancement system in order to stabilize that. So after the therapy, my practitioner said it's going to be about 5 days before your brain is going to really recalibrate to a new normal, right? And I said, I'm traveling and I'm gonna really need my brain. I'm teaching in 5 days. So he's like, oh, okay. So then it was, okay, what do we do to support that? So I took a salt bath. I actually took an Epsom salt bath, but I also spent some time in the energy enhancement system to help stabilize that. The energy enhancement system in and of itself can also, if you stay in there, will work on some of those scar tissue and things, so it can get it can evoke its own response. So I encourage people not to overdo that. Don't come in the first time to do the energy enhancement system. Probably, unless you're really well prepared, probably don't do 8 hours at a time. So I did 2 hours, and then I did another 2 hours, and then I overdid it and did 11 hours and 24 hours with a huge system, and it was way too much for me, far too much. So I had my own Herxheimer's response and had to rest. I did some exercise, the lymph drainage. I took a salt bath, right? And then did some biofeedback, just brain balancing biofeedback programs to help correct. So the other piece, so what else can you do? So you can do a regular salt bath, like a clean sea salt. Don't do iodized salt. Don't do table salt. That's not going to be helpful for you. But you can do an Epsom salt bath. We have a bath bomb that we've done periodically in specials to help people detox. And it was baking soda, bentonite clay, Epsom salt, and boron, straight borax, right? Just clean borax. And it was a cup of each, half a cup of soda and then a cup of the others. So it was a really great way to really pull toxins when we went through this specific detox protocol to help people with long haulers. So exercise, of course, great. Yoga is great because you're listening to your body. You're thanking it for talking to you. You're taking nice deep breaths. You're heart-centered. There's so many great things about yoga, yoga and Pilates. Swimming, great. Anything, I mean, for me, I just go stick my feet in a really ice cold creek and stay there until I feel good. So sometimes I'll submerge my whole body and do like an ice bath, but it's nature's ice bath. And I love that. So you can find your own things, walking, anything that's grounding, right? So if you can't do anything else, just take your shoes and socks off and put your feet on the dirt, good, clean grass that hasn't been sprayed, so you're not absorbing more. If you have access to a rebounder or a trampoline or anything like that, right? Those are all going to be really great ways to support yourself. And of course, number one, water, right? A good clean water source. And they say you should do an ounce for every pound. And I find that that's a lot. So maybe a half an ounce for every pound is about right. Everybody's different. Everybody's constitution is different. I know people who's, when we do the biofeedback, their hydration's in the 90s and they never drink more than 32 ounces in a day. They like 4 cups and that's it. They don't have very much at all. So they're fine at 32 ounces. It also depends on the type of water. Of course, you want to make sure you have good, clean spring water. Things, good, clean spring water, reverse osmosis water. Occasionally I'll have people do distilled water if their kidneys are really congested, just like 8 to 16 ounces of distilled water, maybe a couple times a week. But play it by ear, listen to your body, do your own homework, and find good water sources for you. So I hope this little tiny tutorial helped you understand a little bit about Herxheimer's responses, or a Herx response, and why sometimes going back through the path, right? So health is like an hourglass. When you're up at the top, it's healthy. When you're exposed to a toxin or a pathogen, your body goes, what? No, that's not okay. And you sneeze or you cough, or you have a little rash, you have a little skin reaction, and your body isolates it and it takes care of it and sends it on its way, and you're done. That's it. But over time, we're exposed to more and more toxins, more and more pathogens, all different types of things working together, not on our behalf. And you get these symptoms, right? So I'll pull it off to the side here. So the symptoms start to show up, and this is uncomfortable. There's a lot of symptoms here. And then you kind of get used to it. And your body's like, oh, that's just how it is. I'm always have back pain. It's always inflamed. Or I always have, sinus congestion. I always have all of this stuff. Well, sometimes when you're working, especially with natural modalities, your body has to go back up through here and deal with these toxins, deal with this die-off, deal with the pathogens, and then it gets to back up here. So this hourglass concept has really been helpful for a lot of people to understand why you're going back up into symptoms in order to get back up all the way up into health. So I encourage you to do some homework on that and do a little bit of your own investigation and look into why your body might be responding, that it's responding if you do, or if you're doing just maybe too much. Some people are like, I want to be in tomorrow. I want another session in 2 days. I want, this, and it's like, you need processing time, right? My brain, just to get balanced on that technology, was 5 days of processing time. And it's like, well, you could probably shorten it to 2 or 3 if you did something else supporting. So look at those support systems. And of course, reach out to your practitioners, reach out to us, and so glad to be part of this journey with you. I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Bye.